Cyprus, Greek Kypros, Turkish Kibros, an island in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, renowned since ancient times for its mineral wealth, superb wines, and produce and natural beauty. A golden green leaf thrown into the sea, and a land of wild weather and volcanoes. In the words of the Greek Cypriot poet Leonidas Mailanes, Cyprus comprises tall mountains, fertile valleys, and wide beaches. Settled for more than 10 millennia, Cyprus stands at a cultural, linguistic, and historic crossroads between Europe and Asia. Its chief cities, the capital of Nicosia, Limassol, Famagusta, and Paphos, have absorbed the influences of generations of conquerors, pilgrims, and travelers, and have an air that is both cosmopolitan and provincial. Today, Cyprus is a popular tourist destination for visitors from Europe, favored by honeymooners as befits the legendary home of Aphrodite, the ancient Greek goddess of love. Birdwatchers drawn by the island's diversity of migratory species and other vacationers. In 1960, Cyprus became independent of Britain. It had been a crown colony since 1925 as the Republic of Cyprus. The long-standing conflict between the Greek Cypriot majority and the Turkish Cypriot minority, and an invasion of the island by Turkish troops in 1974 produced an actual, although internationally unrecognized, partition of the island, and led to the establishment in 1975 of a de facto Turkish Cypriot state in the northern third of the country. The Turkish Cypriot state made a unilateral declaration of independence in 1983 and adopted the name Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Its independence was recognized only by Turkey. Land: Cyprus lies about 40 miles 65 km south of Turkey, 60 miles 100 km west of Syria, and 480 miles 770 km southeast of mainland Greece. Its maximum length from Cape Arnauti in the west to Cape Apostolos Andreas at the end of the northeastern peninsula is 140 miles 225 km. The maximum north-south extent is 60 miles 100 km. It is the third largest Mediterranean island after Sicily and Sardinia. Plant and animal life. There is a narrow, fertile plain along the northern coast where the vegetation is largely evergreen and includes olive, carob, and citrus trees. The Troodos Range has pine, dwarf oak, cypress, and cedar forest coverings. The southern and western slopes are extensively planted with vineyards. Between autumn and spring, the Mesoria plain is green and colorful with an abundance of wildflowers, flowering bushes, and shrubs. There are also patches of woodland in which eucalyptus and various types of acacia, cypress, and lowland pine are found. Orange plantations dot the island's northwestern end in the area around Morphu. Small game is abundant but keenly hunted. Snakes were widespread in ancient times, giving the island the name Ophis, the abode of snakes. They are now relatively rare. Cyprus lies on major migration routes for birds. In spring and autumn, millions pass over the island while many species winter there. Among the numerous resident species are francolin and chukar partridges. People of Cyprus. Ethnic groups and languages. The people of Cyprus represent two main ethnic groups, Greek and Turkish. The Greek Cypriots, who constitute nearly 4/5 of the population, descended from a mixture of Aboriginal inhabitants and immigrants from the Peloponnese who colonized Cyprus starting about 1200 BC and assimilated subsequent settlers up to the 16th century. Roughly 1/5 of the population are Turkish Cypriots, descendants of the soldiers of the Ottoman army that conquered the island in 1571 and of immigrants from Anatolia brought in by the Sultan's government. Since 1974, additional immigrants from Turkey have been brought in to work vacant land and increase the total labor force. The language of the majority is Greek and of the minority Turkish. There are also a small number of Arabic-speaking Maronite Christians as well as a small group who speak Armenian. These groups each total only a few thousand speakers, and they are mostly bilingual with either Turkish or Greek their second language. English is widely spoken and understood. Illiteracy is extremely low, the result of an excellent educational system. Religion. The Greek Cypriots are primarily Eastern Orthodox Christians. Their church, the Church of Cyprus, is autocephalous, not under the authority of any patriarch. This privilege was granted to Archbishop Anthemius in AD 488 by the Byzantine Emperor Zeno. Under the Ottoman Empire, the Archbishop of the Church of Cyprus was made responsible for the secular as well as the religious behavior of the Orthodox community and given the title Ethnarch. Economy of Cyprus. Between 1960 and 1973 the Republic of Cyprus, operating a free enterprise economy based on agriculture and trade, achieved a standard of living higher than most of its neighbors with the exception of Israel. Generous financial assistance was given by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in the form of loans for specific development projects, including electricity supply, port development, and sewerage systems. Individual foreign countries also made some aid available to Cyprus. These countries and organizations provided experts to advise economic planning and initiate productive projects. Scholarships and grants provided for the training of Cypriot specialists in these areas. During this time, gross domestic product (GDP) and per capita income grew substantially. Agricultural production doubled, industrial production and export of goods and services more than tripled, and tourism became a significant earner of foreign exchange. Agriculture, forestry, and fishing. More than 1/3 of the island's arable land is irrigated, mainly in the Mesoria Plain and around Paphos in the southwest. Woodlands and forests occupy about 1/5 of the total land area. Land holdings are generally small, highly fragmented, and dispersed under traditional laws of inheritance. A program of land consolidation was enacted in 1969. It met with resistance, particularly from Turkish Cypriot landowners, and was only very slowly implemented, but it has proceeded with considerable success in the Greek Cypriot sector. The major crops of the Greek Cypriot sector include grapes, deciduous fruits, potatoes, cereal grains, vegetables, olives, and carrots. The area under Turkish occupation produces the bulk of the country's citrus fruits, wheat, barley, carrots, tobacco, and green fodder. Cyprus was once famous for its extensive forests, but the demand for timber for shipbuilding by successive conquerors from the 7th century BC onward and extensive felling for building and for fuel have cleared most of them. The fishing industry is small, in part because coastal waters are deficient in the nutrients and associated plankton needed to sustain large fish populations. Although the industry has shown some growth in the Greek Cypriot sector, most fish is imported. Health standards in Cyprus are high because of a favorable climate and well-organized public and private health services. Since the eradication of malaria shortly after World War II and later that of echinococcus hydatid disease, the island has been free from major diseases. Life expectancy is about 75 years for men and 80 years for women, and the infant mortality rate is low. Education. In the Greek Cypriot sector, 12 grades of free education are provided for children beginning at age 5. Schooling is compulsory through age 15. The last 3 years may be taken at a technical or vocational school or at a lyceum, the latter offering courses stressing such fields as classical studies, the sciences, or economics. Post-secondary facilities include schools for teacher training, technical instruction, hospitality training, tourism guides, nursing, public health, and police work. Greek Cypriots opened the University of Cyprus in 1992. Many students, however, attend universities abroad, especially in Greece, Britain, or the United States. The education system in the Turkish sector is administered separately, and the Turkish Cypriots maintain an excellent public school system with facilities similar to those in the Greek sector and several institutions of specialized post-secondary education. Cultural life, daily life, and social customs. The culture of Cyprus is divided between the northern Turkish and the southern Greek sections of the country. Since 1974, the Turkish community in northern Cyprus has promoted its own Turkish and Islamic culture, supporting its own newspapers and periodicals and changing many place names to Turkish. Greek Cypriots speak a dialect of Greek and maintain a somewhat ambivalent attitude about mainland Greeks. However, most Greek Cypriots who go abroad for their post-secondary education travel to Greece, and these young people share in the popular culture of Greece, which is itself increasingly cosmopolitan. Even so, Greek Cypriots take care to preserve their traditional culture and to observe such important holidays as Easter and the pre-Easter Carnival and Anisteria, a spring flower festival.